Most expensive finds in Storage Wars. It's hardly shocking that after more than a decade of broadcast, Storage Wars has unearthed numerous priceless items from storage. Buyers and spectators alike have been astounded by items ranging from antiquities and photographs to paperwork and even actual currency. So are you curious about the most valuable and sought-after things featured in Storage Wars auctions? Stay with us. Number 10. A vintage treasure. Brandy Passanti and Jared Schultz don't have a completely miserable television experience. In the 8th episode of the first season, despite Barry Weiss's efforts to guess what was inside the locker with the help of a clairvoyant, it was Brandy and Jared who genuinely took advantage during the bidding. They had to settle for $1,700 since another buyer had bid against them. But when the pair opened it up, they discovered a treasure trove of vintage playthings. They couldn't believe their eyes. Some of the many crates of My Little Pony merchandise. One among the things was a huge pink stuffed pony. As a whole, the worth of the haul was $875. They eventually made $12,800 on the sale of the lot. 9. The Faceless Cache. An unidentified bidder apparently bought a unit from the Storage Wars hosts, the Dotsons, for under $400, making it another surprising find with a slightly sinister edge. At first sight, the locker appeared to contain nothing but a bunch of crap. The new owner was pleased, though, to find an old trunk stuffed with a whopping $24,000 in cash among the trash. The find's value alone would place it among the Dotsons' largest payments, but that's not the most shocking part. The shocking revelation was that all of the banknotes had their faces drilled out. Yes, the previous owner had painstakingly removed the banknotes' central images, leaving behind a trunk full of faceless bills. Regardless of the strange behavior, the new owners could rest easy, knowing that the notes were still legal cash and could be replaced by the U.S. Department of the Treasury for their full face value. 8. The unusual vending machines. Dave Hester is one of those people who you either adore or despise. However, it is indisputable that he contributed much to the series' expertise during the years he was a part of it. During the second season of Storage Wars, Dave Hester purchased a whole locker full of vintage vending machines. Hester had spotted some cutting-edge machinery stashed away in the far reaches of the storeroom and deemed them worth investigating. He bid $1,300 and ultimately won. Some of the vending machines were in working order, others were broken, and a few were brand spanking new, just as Hester had predicted. His final payout was $27,000. 7. The Antique Locker. Because of how fantastic it was, you won't be able to get this discovery out of your thoughts for a little while. It's just one of those things. To this day, Renee and Casey Nazoda consider whatever they discovered in that old locker room to be their greatest Storage Wars haul ever. It's hard to keep track of everything the Nazodas found in that room, from antique decorative boats to paintings that looked like they cost a small fortune, to old Japanese vases, to masks, to a folding screen, to silver plates, to even some African masks. But it certainly looked like they hit the real-life jackpot. If Renee Nazoda's estimates are accurate, then the total value of all those pieces is at least $50,000. This is especially true when one considers how expensive it is possible to make certain types of artifacts through the auction process. 6. The Video Games Treasure. The Nazodas struck again, although this time not with an obviously valuable antique collection, but rather with something more contemporary like video games. While he only spent $1,500 during the bidding, Renee's suspicion that some interesting items were stashed in that locker was more than true, as he discovered several vintage Nintendo controllers and consoles, which were featured on the 10th season of Storage Wars. Renee brought his friend and fellow video game collector Fluffy, whom he referred to as the Luigi to his Mario, so that together they could determine the artifact's value. After perusing the more readily available items, Fluffy broke the good news to Renee. A box contained more than $3,000 worth of rare vintage video games, and that was just the beginning. After many hours of investigation, Fluffy concluded that the room housed at least $44,000 worth of video games, consoles, and accessories. 5. Elvis Presley newspapers. As has previously been established, Dave Hester is one lucky dude. This was again demonstrated when, in the 6th season, he won an auction for an entire locker room full of vintage journals. On the surface, they appear to be generic. However, upon closer inspection, it became clear that they are genuine first printings from the day following Elvis Presley's death, 17 August 1977. Dave's hunch that he had stumbled onto a windfall thanks to Elvis was confirmed when he took the newspapers to expert Joseph Carita. Of course, not every article was worth tens of thousands. 4. The Room of Paintings. In the 3rd season of Storage Wars, Daryl Sheets outbid everyone else and won the locker room containing the show's most valuable treasure. When he opened the case containing the painting by the renowned Mexican artist Frank Gutierrez, he immediately sensed that something was amiss with the room. After taking a closer look around, he noticed that the area was adorned with paintings, though he hadn't anticipated that most of them would be Gutierrez's. When an expert told Daryl that his treasure was worth at least $300,000, he couldn't believe it, and with good cause, as it was a whole lot more than what he expected when he paid $3,600 during the bidding. Daryl's co-star, Dave Hester, is just one of many who have questioned the artwork's value, arguing that it's much less than was implied in the show. 3. Antiques, Classics, and Comics. When Daryl Sheets, aka The Gambler, won an auction for a locker full of antique toys and comics in Season 3 of Storage Wars, he discovered a treasure trove of childhood nostalgia. Sheets referred to it as the Holy Grail. Collectible G.I. Joes, Hot Wheel cars, and other dolls and toys were among the 3,000 comic books in the collection, which may have been the store's stock. The entire collection, according to Sheets' calculations, is worth around $90,000. 2. Gold pirate coins. On dry land, in a disused storage container, is the last place you'd look for pirate loot. During an interview that took place in 2011, the hosts of Storage Wars were asked about the incident, and in response they explained that they had sold the unknown owner of the locker together with another unit for the low price of only $2,000. They didn't have to wait long before they saw 3 men carrying what looked like a very large, plain, blue Rubbermaid tote out to their car. The bag was discovered to be acting as a veritable treasure trove. 200-year-old gold pieces of 8 and doubloons were found within. Number 1. $7.5 million of cold, hard cash. After the pirates' loot was discovered, another hidden treasure was discovered that was even more precious. Dan Dotson was approached by a woman who said her husband had purchased a safe from one of the storage units he had sold to him for $500. This, in and of itself, is not very noteworthy given the fact that the Dotsons' lockers have been found to have a significant number of safes. When he had it opened by a locksmith, however, the man was shocked to find a large amount of cash that had presumably been stashed inside. Incredible as it may seem, all of the $7.5 million was in cash and had gone unclaimed. That is, until a lawyer showed up shortly thereafter and told them that the contents of their safe belonged to his client. This winds up our finds for today. What are your thoughts on it? Share with us in the comments. Like the video and subscribe to the channel to see more videos.